أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and very good day to everybody. So this is the online recorded lecture for topic or chapter number 8 for this particular subject, Islamic or Ethics, AAM3063. So the title of this chapter is Aphorisms of Islamic Ethical Philosophy. So aphorisms is similar to axioms and also similar to principles. Alright. So after you have learned this topic, inshallah, you should be able to explain 5 main aphorisms or axioms of ethical philosophy, and you inshallah should be able to elaborate the application of each of the axioms or principles. So as the introduction, management is part of a broader Islamic administrative system regulated by Sharia, with the main sources being the Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. Sharia guides all Muslim activities which reflect Islamic moral and ethical values, especially in the realm of a workplace, because we are talking about ethics at the workplace, so the discussion is much about at the workplace. The overall objective of Sharia is to promote the well-being of humankind, which lies in safeguarding its faith, its life, intellect, progeny, and wealth. Okay, so din, nafs, aql, nas, and also mal. So this responsibility falls on the shoulders of the Islamic economic system, specifically Islamic management and administration institutions. So talking about this, I would like to refer to Bikun, Rafiq Bikun, whereby he stated that there are 5 aphorisms or axioms or principles of Islamic ethical philosophy. So there are number 1, unity, followed by equilibrium. Number 3 is free will. Number 4 is responsibility, and the last one is benevolence. So let us look into the table that we have in this particular topic. Okay, so we have axioms there and definitions. So let us look into unity. So unity been defined as defined by Bikun as related to the concept of Tawheed. Talking about unity, it's related to the political, economic, social, and religious aspects of man's life form a homogeneous whole, which is consistent from within, as well as integrated with the vast universe without. So, according to scholars, this is the vertical dimension of Islam. Everybody on this planet, everybody on this earth, okay, has this kind of what we call as the vertical dimension. Everybody has this homogeneous whole. The political, the economic, the social, the religious aspects, everybody need to convey their responsibility as the same as the others. So that's why scholars said that this is the vertical dimension of Islam. The second axiom is equilibrium, and this is related to the concept of adil, which is a sense of balance among the various aspects of a man's life in order to produce the best social order. Talking about equilibrium or adil, it is related to individualism, okay, but in the sense of this individualism care the needs of ummah in terms of equality. If we have something, we need to assure that others got the same things like what we do. It is like if we have an amount of wealth, so it means that we need to share the wealth with others who need it as well. So this sense of balance is achieved through the conscious purpose. So this is what we call as the horizontal dimension of Islam. Okay, so it is horizontal. It's a bit different with unity. Unity is vertical. Okay, between us with Allah, and equilibrium is between us and the others. And then we move on to the next axiom, which is free will. So free will is defined as man's ability to act without external caution within the parameters of Allah's creation and as Allah's trustee on earth. Alright, so talking about free will, it's like a concept of ihsan. It's like a concept of we have the conscious of doing things without being directed, okay, without thinking of showing it off to others, but for the sake of Allah. So this is what we call as our man's ability to act within the parameter of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the next axiom is responsibility. Okay, so responsibility is defined as human need to be accountable for his actions, as simple as that. And then benevolence is related to khair, kindness, or an action which benefits persons other than those from whom the action proceeds without any obligation. So we are being good to others without being asked, okay, by anyone else, okay. So it means that we are doing good things to others lah. Okay, so these are all the simple definitions of the aphorisms of Islamic ethical philosophy. So we start with unity, equilibrium, free will, responsibility, and benevolence. Alright, let us go to the first axiom, the first principle, which is unity, which related to Tawheed. Since a Muslim looks upon everything in the world as belonging to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the same Lord to whom he himself belongs, he cannot be biased in thinking and behavior. So his vision is wider, and his sense of service is not restricted to any specific sphere or group. So any thought of racism or caste system is inconsistent with his thinking. Okay, because we are giving everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to make sure that we are not treating others bad. Okay, we are not treating others based on racism or caste system, system kasta. And then since only Allah is all powerful and omniscient, the Muslim is indifferent to, independent of, and fearless of all powers other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That particular person is not overawed by anybody's greatness. Tak terkesima dengan kekuatan ataupun kehebatan manusia ataupun ciptaan Allah yang lain. Tidak. And will not allow himself to be coerced into performing unethical acts by anybody. No. Because we are putting in the conception of Tawheed. The conception of mengesakan Allah. So since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take away just as he can give, the Muslim will be humble and modest. So let us look at the discussion of this particular axiom. So these are some of the flags of negara-negara apa ni agak-agaknya. Ni bendera-bendera negara apa agak-agaknya. So inilah dia bendera negara-negara Islam. These are the flags of Muslim countries. How many Muslim countries today? Alright. So as far as I'm concerned, there are 57. Alright. So this is just some facts lah. Okay. In 2015, Christians are the largest religious group. Right. So the population of Christians is about 31.2% in 2015. It might be a bit different today, after 5 years, but the differences will not be so big, alright? And then number of people in 2015 in billions, 2.3 billion are Christians, 1.8 billion are Muslims, Okay, unaffiliated, tak ada agama, mungkin tak mengaitkan diri dengan apa-apa agama, 1.2 billion and so on. And then let us look into Muslim world. I might want to share with you this one, this fact. So where Muslims live. So in 2009, alright, nearly 1 in 4 people worldwide is Muslim, or about 1.6 billion people are Muslim. And then percent of country's population which is Muslim adalah is depicted by the colours that we have there lah. Okay, if you have your laptop or maybe handset later, okay, you might want to browse this lah. But let us look into the largest Muslim populations. Okay, so rank number 1 is Indonesia. Okay, in Indonesia, the Muslims in million are about 203 millions. So the percentage of Muslim in Indonesia is about 88%. Banyak. And then in Pakistan, okay, 174 millions Muslim, and it comes to to 96% of Muslim in Pakistan and any other countries. Okay, so Malaysia mana? Malaysia is about what? Yang kalau kita tengok kat sini Malaysia ni, okay, dia warna hijau gelap kan, dark green. So dark green reflected around 50% lah of Muslim population, 50 and above. So this is just some facts lah that I just want to share with you. So what's the relationship with the first axioms? Okay, we will look it later. There you go. So Malaysia, Islam in Southeastern Asia, Southeast Asia. So Muslim population in 2020, okay, according to this cartomission.com, right? 22.07 million Muslim population in 2020. Okay, so this is estimation only, right? So talking about this, Brunei has 75% Muslim, so majority. Malaysia 66% majority. Indonesia 87% majority. But the other countries in Southeast Asia, Muslim is minority lah. Okay, kalau kita tengok dekat belah-belah atas tu, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, okay, and also Philippines, less than 10% of the population are Muslims. Okay, alright. This is another fact. Okay, the non-religious population in the world, non-religious, okay, so continues to grow each year. Ui, menakutkan. With the current statistics showing that around 15 to 23% of the world is irreligious. One of the facts that I got, okay, from my readings, one of the biggest countries with non-religious population adalah Korea. So kita suka sangat tengok budaya hedonism from Korea. So we need to know that, okay, they might be among those without religion. Okay, sangat suka dan mengagung-agungkan entertainment, and then we tend to mengagung-agungkan mereka pula. So apa kata anda, right? Alright. So talking about all these facts, okay, I just want to relate it with the conception of the oneness of ummah. As we all know, Muslims are a very divided people. Memang, we are a very divided people. We have our own sect, we have our own kind of nature yang if we are Arabic country, so we are keen to be among those in Arabic countries. Walhal Arabic countries pun gaduh sama sendiri. And then the existence of 57 Muslim nations instead of one bears witness to this unfortunate fact. Sayangnya, okay, kita ada 57 negara Islam, tapi kita susah nak jadi satu konsep one ummah. So we find all the excuses, we find all the differences in the world to create division amongst ourselves. Sedih sangat. So we divide ourselves on according to race, according to sect, our pre-Islamic cultures, okay, political opinions, and then ancestry, and even on the imams we follow. Nevertheless, None of these excuses for separation are considered valid by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, we should not consider them as valid either. The Al-Quran reminds us that originally humankind was one ummah. Tak ada beza-beza. There is no difference between Muslims in Arab, Muslim in Europe, Muslim in Southeast Asia. No. But sadly say that this unity was broken by various differences which the human beings created, which the Muslim themselves created among themselves. As Allah SWT said in Yunus, ayat number 19, the people, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the people were but one nation. Then they differed. And had it not been for a previous command from your Lord, the matter would have been immediately judged between them for what they differed. Alright? So it emphasizes the fact that the main purpose of sending Allah Almighty's message through various messengers is to restore back the balance and unity of humankind, which once existed in the earliest period of human history. So, what is the application of the unity axiom to work ethics? So, one should not discriminate his co-workers. One should not discriminate his employees, clients, or anybody in the arm of the organization on the basis of race, on the basis of color, gender, or religion. So this will be consistent with Allah's purpose for creating mankind. And then one should not be coerced into any unethical practices, since he has only Allah to fear and love. So when we have the conception of Tawheed, okay, when we have the conception of fear to Allah, so it means that we will not do any unethical practices, because Allah will always look into whatever we do, good or bad. Allah will give His punishment for any bad deeds, okay, any bad doings, right? So that particular person follows the same unified code of behavior, whether he is in the mosque, whether he is earning a living, working in the office, or acting out of aspect of his life, and he will be content. And then one should not gather his wealth avariciously. The concept of amanah or trust is of critical importance to him, because he knows that any worldly merit is transient and must be used wisely. So a Muslim is not solely guided by profits, no, by money, no, and is not seeking to accumulate wealth at any cost. Alright, we move on to the second axioms. I start with what Allah SWT said in Al-Qamar, ayat number 59. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lo, we have created everything by measure. So talking about this is related to the conception of adil. It describes the horizontal dimension of Islam. Horizontal. Dia mendata. Alright, and relates to the all-embracing harmony in the universe. The law and order that we see in the universe reflect this delicate balance. And then the property of equilibrium is more than a characteristic of nature. It is a dynamic characteristic which each Muslim must strive for in his life. So the need for balance is stressed by Allah SWT in Al-Baqarah, ayat 143, when Allah labels the Muslim Ummah as Ummatun Wasatun, the concept of Wasatiyah. To maintain a sense of balance between those who have not, Allah SWT stresses the importance of giving and condemns the practice of conspicuous consumption. And you can read this in Al-Baqarah, ayat number 195. Simultaneously, Allah is not urging extreme asceticism. Balance and moderation are key. Okay, He describes those who will be rewarded with the highest place in heaven, as in Al-Furqan, ayat 67 to 68, and also ayat number 72 to 73. Okay, I hope you can read this by yourselves. So, what is the application of equilibrium axiom, okay, to work ethics. So we're talking about this, we need to know that the principle of equilibrium apply both figuratively and literally to business. Bukan hanya lihat kepada kira-kira kewangan dan sebagainya, but we have the literal, the idea, the philosophical things related to business lah. For instance, Allah admonishes Muslim to deal with a fair and balanced transaction in any business deal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Give full measure when you measure, and weigh with a balance that is straight. That is the most fitting and the most advantageous in the final determination. In Al-Isra ayat 35. And then it is interesting that another meaning of adil is justice and equity, as can be seen in the above Quranic verse just now. Alright, a balanced transaction is also equitable and just. Islam wants to curb man's propensity for greediness and his love for possessions. As a result, greediness and spendthrift mode of conduct have both been condemned in Al-Quran and Al-Hadith. Alright, we move on to the third axiom or the third principle, okay, which is free will. A philosophical term of art for a particular sort of capacity of rational agents to choose a course of action from among various alternatives. This is the meaning of free will. Which sort is the free will? Sort is what all the fuss is about. Maksudnya apa? Maksudnya, when you are doing things, okay, if we can control ourselves within the parameter of the parameter of behavior, good conduct, and the most important parameter is the parameter of Sharia. So it means that you are having, insyaAllah, good free will lah. So suppose that the concept of free will is very closely connected to the concept of moral responsibility. So acting with free will on such views is just to satisfy the metaphysical requirement on being responsible for one's action. For example, why do we perform solat, the fardu solat 5 times a day? Why? Why do we perform it timely? Because of the conception of free will. We are doing things because of moral responsibility. We are doing the solat because of Sharia responsibility. Okay. So let us look into this example. Just give you some example lah. So this example, who would you say first? When you found that your wife, your mother, your daughter are drowned, and then there is one bag of 10 million over there. So who or what would you say first? Your wife? Your mother? Your daughter? Or you leave them all for the sake of that 10 million bag? Alright, so to a certain degree, the significance of free will is not exhausted by its connection to moral responsibility. Man has been granted the free will to steer his own life as Allah's vicegerent on earth, as Allah's Khalifah on earth. And this has been said by Allah in Al-Baqarah ayat number 30. So nevertheless, the fact that he is completely regulated by the law governing Allah's creation, he has been endowed with the ability to think and form judgments, to adopt whatever course of life he wishes, and most importantly, to act in accordance with whatever code of conduct he chooses. As Muslims, what kind of code of conduct that we choose? For sure, it is based on the Sharia code of conduct. So based upon the axioms of free will, so we are talking about the application of free will to business ethics. So man has the freedom to make a contract and either honor or break it. Okay, if a Muslim is having a job, for sure he or she will sign a contract. Okay, So he or she will follow the contract as long as they are working at that particular place or at that particular office. So that contract will tie them in terms of his behavior, okay, his working conduct and so on. A Muslim who has submitted to the will of Allah will honor all contracts, no matter if the contract is within us and Allah or within us with any other person. So when we talk about business ethics or workplace ethics, so it is a contract within the parameter of the workplace, alright, between us and between workers and bosses, okay, workers and organizations and so on. So it is important to note that Allah is directing the above verse, Al-Ma'idah ayat number 1, explicitly to Muslim. O you who believe, fulfill all obligations. Okay, next. The application of the free will axiom to business ethics again, alright. So scholars suggest that the word uqud or akad in the verse, okay, Al-Ma'idah ayat number 1, is a multidimensional construct. Okay, so it implies A, the divine obligations that spring from our spiritual nature and our relation to Allah. Okay, talking about akad, okay, it is a kind of obligations that we put from our spiritual nature and our relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. B, our social obligations, okay, such as our marriage contract and so on. C, our political obligations, such as treaty and so on. D, our work or business obligations or workplace obligations, such as formal contract to perform certain tasks or a tacit contract to treat employees decently. So in a working contract, in a job contract, there will always be two parties. The first one is the majikan, okay, or employer. The second one is pekerja, employees. So employees need to do whatever he had been asked, okay, in his capacity, in his knowledge, skills and attitude, for the sake of the organisation. So as a return, the bosses, okay, or the employer, they need to give whatever the workers needs, especially the salary, the holiday and any other perks or benefits. Alright, we move on to the fourth axiom, which is responsibility. Islam is fair. As previously discussed, a person is not responsible for his actions if he has not reached the age of puberty, 1, if he is insane, 2, or if he is acting during sleep. Only in these three category of situations, a person is not responsible for his actions. Other than that, he need to bear with his responsibility. So within the concept of responsibility, Islam draws a distinction, perbezaan between fardu ain wa fardu kifayah. Okay, individual responsibility that is not transferable, fardu ain, and collective responsibility dischargeable by a few, so we call it as fardu kifayah. Alright, so what is the application of the responsibility axiom to work ethics? Should a Muslim worker behave unethically, he cannot blame his actions on the pressure of working, or on the fact that everybody else is behaving unethically. This is not right. So he bears the ultimate responsibility for his own actions. Accordingly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Al-Mudaththir, ayat number 38, every soul will be held in pledge for its deeds. So, this principle, this axiom, ties in with the other axioms of unity, equilibrium and free will. All obligations must be honored unless morally wrong. Alright, we come to the last axiom or last principle, which is benevolence. Benevolence or kindness to others is defined as an act which benefits persons other than those from whom the act proceeds without any obligation. Talking about that, alright, so kindness is encouraged in Islam. As Rasulullah SAW is reported to have said, the inmates of paradise are of three types. One who wields authority and is just and fair. One is truthful and has been endowed with power to do good deeds. And the person who is merciful and kind-hearted towards his relatives and to every pious Muslim, and who does not stretch out his hand in spite of having a large family to support. So this is hadith narrated by Muslim. So what are the applications of the benevolence axioms to work ethics? According to Imam Al-Ghazali, there are 6 kinds of benevolence. The first one is, if a person needs a thing, one should give it to him, making as little profit as possible. If the giver forgoes the profit, it will be better for him. Number 2, if a man purchase anything from a poor person, kita beli sesuatu daripada orang yang miskin, it will be more graceful on his part to suffer a little loss by paying him more than what he considers to be the proper price. Kita tahu orang miskin tersebut mungkin dia jual buah sekilo RM5. Apa salahnya kalau kita bagi lebih sedikit, RM6 ataupun RM7 dan sebagainya. Or we are not questioning the price that poor give to us. Okay. Number 3, in realizing one's dues, hutang orang ni, and loans, pinjaman, one must act benevolently by giving the debtors more time to pay than is due. And, if necessary, one should make reductions in loans to provide relief to the debtors. For instance, we are giving money to others and we lend money to others. So, we might want to prolong the time for the debtor to pay our money. Or, we want to make some discount. We want to give some discount so that it will be a kind of relief, kelegaan to the debtors, si pemiutang. And then number 4, the fourth application of the benevolence, alright, it is only proper that people who want to return the goods they have purchased should be permitted to do so as a matter of benevolence. Okay, when the buyers, okay, when they bought something from us and then they found some faulty or weaknesses, so they want to return it to us, and then they want to get a replacement of that good. So it is so proper if we could permit that to be. Okay, kita membenarkan mereka memulangkan dan kita gantikan dengan yang baharu. Number 5, it is a graceful act on the part of debtor. Ini untuk orang yang berhutang pula. It is a graceful act if he pay his debts without being asked to do so. Tak payahlah orang yang berhutang ni tunggu si pemiutang minta ataupun bagi peringatan mesra, kan? So if possible, long before they are due. Number 6, when selling things on credit, one should be generous enough not to press for payment when people are not able to pay on the stipulated terms. Okay, kalau kita meminjamkan duit ataupun apa saja kepada orang, so make sure we should be generous enough. Okay, tak memberikan tekanan, not pressing. Okay, the debtors to pay in the stipulated terms, dalam terma-terma yang telah ditetapkan. Okay, so itu sahaja daripada saya, okay, for this particular topic. So I hope that everybody will get the idea of this particular topic, the axioms of Islamic philosophical the 5 axioms, okay, in Islamic ethical system. Okay, kalau kita boleh ulang balik apa dia tadi. The 5th one is benevolence. The fourth one is responsibility. The third one is free will. Okay, the second one is equilibrium. And the first axiom or aphorism is unity. Okay, so with that, I want to conclude with one hope, okay, that you will take a good care of yourselves, okay. Read this particular chapter or topic again. Please understand better, because this particular topic might be included in your final examination activity lah. Okay, I will have a replacement continuous assessment for your final exam. So get ready with this particular topic. Wallahu a'lam bisawab. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.